Hi Brollies, Marvin here from TechBroll.com, where we do unboxings, reviews, and sexy B-rolls. And today we have something new from Deepcool. We're taking a look at the new Deepcool MF120GT Case fans. And what's interesting with this new offering from Deepcool is the unique design, and this is actually not surprising given the fact that they are quite innovative and aggressive when it comes to case fans design, as we've seen from the previous MF120 frameless case fans. With that being said, let's get into it. Alright, so in this video, we'll focus on the unboxing and I'll teach you how to set this up with the included fan hub and controllers. Okay, so right here we have the packaging for the Deepcool MF120GT Case fans. It comes in a 3-pack configuration, and as you can see, it has a pretty unique design with this sort of X-Men vibe going on, with a large X that has an RGB illumination on its edges as well as on the fan blades itself. Speaking of RGB, it is compatible to all mainstream motherboard software, as you can see here, including ASRock's Polychrome Sync. Now on top, we don't have anything here, and then on this side, we just have the model name and some key features, and then on the other side, another model name and the preview of the case fan from different angles. And lastly, at the back, we have all the specifications of the Deepcool MF120GT that I'll also pop on the screen so that it'll be easier for you to check it out. Now, what's important here is that it has a decent fan speed of around 500 to 1800 RPM and can push airflow for around 60.6 CFM and has an approximate fan noise of around 35 decibels. It also features addressable RGB illumination via a 3-pin 5V connector. Now, let's see what comes in the package. Upon opening the box, we're greeted by another small accessory box that I'll place on the side first as we take a look at what else comes in the package. So all the 3 case fans here have their own individual packaging, which is nice. Now inside the small accessory box, we have the user guide with easy to understand instructions and illustrations. Aside from that, we also have the addressable RGB hub that can support at least 5 fans and also has a nifty double-sided tape at the back. And to go along with this RGB hub, we also have this adapter for both the standard 5V 3-pin connector and Gigabyte's 3-pin VDG connector. Next, we have the inline RGB controller should you choose to control the RGB illumination via a physical controller rather than syncing with your motherboard software. Or perhaps your motherboard simply doesn't have an RGB header. The RGB illumination will be powered via a SATA connector. Next, we have the fan hub itself to control the speed of the case fans, and this one supports up to 4 case fans and will be connected directly to any fan header on your motherboard, ideally a chassis or system fan header. Aside from those controllers, we also have these 3 low-speed adapters, which essentially will lower the RPM of the case fans for better noise levels at the expense of some cooling performance. Aside from that, of course, we have an abundance of fan screws and longer radiator screws. Finally, let's take a look at the Deepcool MF120GT Case fan. And like I said, each fan has its own individual packaging, which is a nice touch and is also protected by a plastic. Now, looking closer, as you can see, the design is really unique and interesting with a combination of black and translucent white, and again, it has this large X at the center with an illuminated strip on its edges. At the back of the fan, we have here at the center the technical details such as voltage and ampere rating that is actually quite important should you decide to connect multiple case fans on a single motherboard header. You should always consider the power draw of the fans in relation to the load capacity of your motherboard's fan header to avoid overloading things. As for the fan blades, it also has an interesting design for itself with this sort of semi-dual layer design that, as per Deepcool, allows the fan to have a balance between performance and noise levels. In terms of the interface, the fan connector is pretty standard 4-pin PWM connector, but the RGB connector is non-standard and will require the RGB adapter included on the package. Overall, in terms of the design, it looks really cool and promising when it comes to performance with this unusual design and dual-layer fan blade configuration. Alright, with the unboxing and parts overview out of the way, let me teach you how to set this up with the included hubs and connectors. Okay, so first things first, grab the Deepcool MF120GT Case fan, and then grab the fan hub and connect the 4-pin PWM connector to the fan hub. The fan hub is actually quite standard, so I think you can also use this for other PWM fans if you want to. Next, get the RGB hub, and then connect the proprietary 3-pin connector to the fan hub. Now, you have 2 options when it comes to controlling the RGB for the case fans. The first option is to use the included RGB adapter with a splitter to a standard 3-pin 5V connector for most mainstream brands and another 3-pin VDG connector for Gigabyte. Now, the second option is to control the RGB lighting using the included inline control and powered via a SATA connector, just in case your motherboard doesn't have an addressable RGB header or if you simply want to use the included remote and its built-in lighting effects rather than syncing the fan via your motherboard software. Now for the actual fan speed controller, all you have to do is just connect it to any system or chassis fan header on your motherboard and you're good to go. And lastly, if you want to run your case fans a little bit slower and quieter, you can opt to use the included low speed adapter, and all you have to do is connect it in between the case fan and the fan hub or any fan header. And that's about it on how to set up the Deepcool MF120GT, and as you can see, it is actually pretty straightforward and everything is laid out on the user guide as well, so the experience is quite seamless. Now, I actually have 6 of these case fans, but I'll save the performance review once I get a hold of the upcoming chassis from Deepcool so that we can test the performance of these new Deepcool products in one go. Unfortunately, I cannot mention the model name of the upcoming chassis, but all I can say is that it is very promising in terms of airflow and it also has a good and seamless design. Now, before we end this video, of course, we have to take a look at the RGB illumination of the Deepcool MF120GT case fans. For this demonstration, we'll use the included inline control so that you can have an idea of what lighting effects it has to offer. So with this, you can adjust the speed of the animation, and of course, you can cycle through all the different lighting effects. With that being said, here are the rest of the effects. Now let me just turn off the lights so that you can have an idea how bright the LEDs are in a dim environment. Now, it's not the brightest I've seen on a case fan, but it does look smooth in terms of the spread of the illumination, partnered with a nice accent lighting on the edges of the X design. Flipping it on the other side, as you can see, we can clearly see the X illumination alongside a subtle spread all over the fan blades. So to conclude, performance aside, in terms of the design and the aesthetics, I'm cool with this as I find it, like I said, quite unique and interesting with a large X design, dual fan blade, edge illumination, and overall good looking aesthetics. I just hope it could have been a little bit brighter, but nevertheless, it still looks good in my opinion. Like I said, I'll save the performance review once I make a build video around this and the upcoming chassis from Deepcool. So make sure to subscribe so you won't miss out. Huge thanks to Deepcool for sending this in. You can get this once available from the link below. Thank you for watching. Have a great day guys. You're awesome.